Once upon a time, in a small village nestled among peaceful fields, there lived a young woman named Belle. Belle was not like the other girls in the village. While others dreamed of grand balls or perfect marriages, Belle dreamed of distant horizons, great cities, and adventures that existed only in books. She loved books more than anything, because within their pages, the world felt far larger than her small village ever could. Belle's father was a kind-hearted inventor, though often unlucky. One day, on his way to a fair, he became lost in the forest and sought shelter in a dark, eerie castle. Unbeknownst to him, the castle belonged to a terrifying beast, once a prince, cursed for his selfishness and cold heart. The beast flew into a rage upon discovering the intruder and imprisoned Belle's father. When Belle followed his trail and found him, she willingly took her father's place, agreeing to stay in the castle forever. Life in the castle was not easy. The beast was hot-tempered, rough, and full of anger. But Belle was not afraid. Over time, she began to see that behind the monstrous exterior was a lonely soul, trapped by a curse and weighed down by regret. The servants of the castle, transformed into living objects, quietly hoped that Belle might be the one to break the curse. For only if the beast learned to love and be truly loved, before the last petal of the enchanted rose fell, would the magic be undone. Day by day, Belle and the beast began to understand each other. They shared meals, laughter, fears, and dreams. Belle discovered the beast's gentleness, and the beast learned to put others before himself. But their fragile happiness was threatened when Gaston, driven by jealousy and hatred, led the villagers to attack the castle. In the chaos, the beast was gravely wounded. Belle returned just in time. In a moment that felt utterly hopeless, she confessed her love. A tear fell as the final petal dropped. And then, magic happened. The curse was broken. The beast transformed back into a prince, the castle came back to life, and light filled halls that had long been shrouded in darkness. This is the story everyone knows. But tonight, let us change the perspective and listen to the story from the monster's side. I was once a prince. At least, that is how I remember it. I lived in a magnificent castle, spoiled by power and my own appearance. I believed the world existed to serve me. Until one cold, rainy night, when an old woman knocked on my door, asking for shelter. I drove her away, seeing only her poverty and ugliness. And then, she vanished. In her place stood a sorceress. She said I had no heart, and she gave me a form that reflected who I truly was inside a beast. When I awoke, I roared in terror. The mirror no longer reflected a man. Claws. Fangs. A monstrous voice. Everything reminded me that I had lost the right to be loved. The sorceress left behind a rose. When its last petal fell, I would remain a monster forever. I locked myself inside the castle. Days turned into years. No one came. No one stayed. Until he arrived. An old man wandered into the castle and accidentally picked the rose. I was furious not because of the flower, but because of fear. Fear of losing my final hope. I imprisoned him. And then, she came. The girl did not look at me the way others did. She did not scream. She did not run. She stood there, her eyes trembling, yet resolute, and offered to stay in her father's place. I did not understand why. why anyone would choose darkness willingly. At first, I hated her. She was everything I was not: free, curious, and unafraid of me. She did not see a monster. She saw a lonely soul. With every shared meal, every conversation, every quiet laugh, the roaring inside my chest grew softer. I learned to restrain my anger, to listen, to care. And then something more terrifying than the curse happened. I fell in love with her. But love also means letting go. When I realized she missed her father, I let her leave, knowing it might cost me everything. I returned to the castle and waited for the end. When the mob arrived, fueled by fear and hatred, I no longer resisted. Perhaps I believed I deserved to die. Until I heard her voice calling my name. In the final moment, as the last petal fell, I thought it was over. Then she said she loved me. Not the prince. Not the appearance. But me, the beast who had learned how to love. Light exploded around me. The curse shattered. When I opened my eyes, I was human again. But for the first time in my life, I understood something. I did not become human because of magic. I became human because of love. And Belle. She had seen that humanity in me long before I ever did. When the magic faded, everyone thought the story had ended. But for me, it was only the beginning. I woke up in a body both familiar and strange. My hands no longer had claws. My voice no longer echoed like a roar. The mirror showed a human face, one I had forgotten the feeling of carrying. Belle smiled at me. That smile was no different from when I was a beast. And that terrified me. Because I realized, if she loved me as a monster, would she still love me as a prince? The early days were strange. I walked more lightly, yet my heart felt heavy. I missed the weight of claws on stone, the rough armor I once hid behind. I thought the curse had imprisoned me. Now I understood I had been imprisoned by my own habits. I still spoke too loudly. Still flinched when someone came close. Still stepped back when I sensed fear, though no one feared me anymore. Belle noticed before I did. She did not rush me. She did not correct me. She simply stayed. We walked through the gardens that once lay barren. I told her about the years of solitude, the nights I screamed in despair with only stone walls to listen. She told me about her village, her books, her unbroken dreams. And I learned something essential. Being human is not about changing form. Being human is about learning how to live with others. The castle reopened. The servants, now human again, laughed more, though sometimes they looked at me with hesitation. Not fear. But because they, too, were relearning how to be human just like me. I stopped giving orders. I started asking. I stopped avoiding. I learned to apologize. Some nights I woke in panic, afraid I would see claws again. Belle would take my hand and whisper, "You are not that person anymore." But I knew. I had to remember who I once was, so I would never become that person again. One day, I returned to the room where the rose had been kept. Only the empty glass case remained. I kept it not to remember the curse, but to remember the lesson. Power does not make a person. Appearance does not define worth. And love is not something we deserve. It is something we must learn to protect. Now, I am a prince. But more importantly, I am someone who was once a beast, and was loved before he knew how to love in return. And every morning, when Belle enters the room with a book in her hands, I silently give thanks for the curse long ago. Because without it, I would never have learned how to become human.